Hello, preschool peeps. Thanks to our sponsor, Joy Greenberg, a wellness advocate for doTERRA products, we're able to bring you another episode of How Preschool Teachers Do It. Joy has offered our listeners free products if they sign up as a wholesaler. If you go to our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com, you'll see how to do that. Today's topic on the podcast is aggression in early childhood, and doTERRA even has products that can help people calm down. Did you know that, Allison?
I did know that. I thought about using them in the classroom.
I do know that in some places, teachers use a variety of essential oils in the classroom. There are some having to do with germs and some having to do with being calm, and people should definitely look into it. So go to our website, check it out. Check out that special offer. And now we're going to dive into today's topic, which again is aggression in the preschool classroom. Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Allison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide. Aggression is really normal in the preschool years, isn't it, Allison?
It is.
For a variety of reasons. There are many risk factors that can lead children to be aggressive. One of the primary ones is the fact that they have limited communication skill.
Right. I feel like they use aggression for that reason mostly. You know, they don't know how to communicate that they are frustrated, and so it turns into an aggressive act.
I also think that they do it as part of their learning about peer interaction. It's just really a normal part of learning socialization that children should be aggressive, but aggression looks differently from different children. It doesn't always look the same. I think when we think aggression, we think physical aggression.
Yeah, I think most people think that but there's a lot of aggression that's not physical too.
Right. I read this very interesting textbook information, and I caught my eye because I thought, oh my gosh, that's so true. There was a textbook that I was looking at for a class I'm teaching, and it said that all genders are aggressive in some way, and that studies show that there is a tendency for boys to be physically aggressive and girls to be verbally aggressive. But no one gender is more or less aggressive than the other. It's just that some aggression is more in your face. Isn't that interesting?
I think that's very true. Because I find that the boys in class will, you know, when they're frustrated, they'll hit or kick or something, and it's very immediate, you know, and then sometimes they're done, you know, and that's it. But the girls will do more.
Some of them will be. Some girls are physically aggressive. I don't want to like generalize and say what we're saying is true for every single child.
That's true, because I have a couple girls in my class that are actually physically aggressive right now. But like, I also find, well, actually, this is, now that I think about it, the boys in the class can be verbally too, but they just maybe do it a little. Yeah, they do it a little differently. Like what I find with the girls in my class will do like almost like a quiet kind of, like they'll whisper about somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Or you're not my best friend, or you can't come to my house tomorrow, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's basically like this. Boys will be physically aggressive and girls verbally tear each other to shreds.
Right. But the boys, when they are verbally aggressive, they'll just like call the kid a name and then they're done. Like they're not like plotting like this big thing. Like for me, like that's what I feel like.
Plotting their whole story of how they're going to destroy this person, and they're 3.5 years old.
That's how I feel. Like I feel like the girls are like plotting, and the boys are like, "Let me just say this so he knows I'm mad, and we'll be done." You know, like, and that's it, and they're over it. Yeah.
In my experience, it's far more often the girls who say things like, "You can't come to my birthday party,"
yes,
or "You're not my friend,"
you can't come to my house. Yep.
Or "Your shoes are stupid," or whatever it is they say that's verbally aggressive. And I feel like that comes, I feel like that study that was quoted in that textbook was pretty accurate based on my experience. And that the girls, it was interesting what it said, because it said you have to keep an eye on the girls, because while we're catching the boys being aggressive and addressing that, and hopefully we're addressing that in a positive and beneficial way to teach them about what's appropriate or how to communicate their feelings, the girls are just having at it over there because we're not catching them.
We're not catching them because they're very quiet about it. You know,
they are quietly mean.
Right. Or like I started noticing it now in my classroom.
How old are the kids? Tell everybody how old
they're 3.5 now. They're almost 4.
Okay, so you have 3.5 to almost 4-year-olds where you're noticing this. And I find that it is about at 3.5 to 4 where that whole mean kid thing comes out.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like just this week, I had this conversation with my teacher's aide. She goes, "It's like Mean Girls." Like all.
Yeah, it's like Mean Girls. But I think aggression happens not only because of communication issues, but also because children are seeking their power.
Yeah.
Children are seeking power always. Every human being seeks power always. We all do it. We've just, as adults, hopefully learned more appropriate ways to try and garner that power. You know, when adults are looking for power, you know what they do? They try to manipulate situations, or they do things like join communities or clubs where they can be on the board or in charge of a committee.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like people who have no power, for example, in their personal lives, will seek power maybe at work or in another community. People who have no power at work will seek it at home or in another community, and vice versa. And that's what we've learned to do as adults. But children who are seeking power are just going to be aggressive.
Right. And they don't have anywhere else to do it. You know, so like,
really, I mean, they're not joining the local club.
Yeah, they're not joining the local clubs. They're not going to be the leader of the board of ed or anything like that. Like there's school and there's home and maybe the soccer field. That's it. Okay, like
right. I mean, where else are they exercising power? But we all, in some way, seek to even if you're somebody who's like, yeah, I would never be a leader in an organization. So for some people, exercising their power is just saying no to an invitation when they'd rather be home.
That's typically how I do it. Yeah.
I mean, although you and I have served on a board together, so I don't know what you're talking about.
But I am no longer on that board. And I will say, when I said no to being on that board, that gave me I felt so like, wow, I'm taking power over my own life now. You know what I mean?
It's both daunting and powerful, but where are the children going to do that? The children have nowhere to feel that sort of power. So they try and exert it on adults in their lives, sometimes a lot on each other. And we need to pay attention to that verbal aggression that's happening really quietly in the corner of the dramatic play area.
Yeah.
Because someone is being hurt. And don't you think that when you've been verbally attacked, it's equally hurtful as when someone has shoved you?
I actually think it's worse. Okay. I think the verbal attacks stay with you way longer than the physical attacks. That's what I think.
Yeah. In some ways, I bet they become a part of who you are. How you see yourself.
How you see yourself.
If someone says to you, you're not my friend, you can't come to my house, I don't like you, that lives in you.
Right, because I'm an adult, and if somebody said that to me, the whole time I'd be like, why doesn't she like me? What did I do? What could I do differently? And I'd be constantly like thinking like, it's my fault. Like I must do this. And it gets in your head. Whereas I'd rather the kid just punch me, like get it over with. That will all heal. And I'd be like, all right, we're done. Like, cool. Like, but to have like that get in your head, because it becomes like your verbal dialogue, your mental,
it becomes your thoughts until you get to my age, Allison. Until you get to my age, and you're like, I don't really care what anybody thinks, and it's a beautiful age.
Well, I'm like that now, but only because I went through a really bad situation where it was like verbal abuse overload, But like now, I'm like, oh, I don't care what you think about me. Say whatever you want. I don't care.
Kids,
but it took me years to get like that.
Children are forming their viewpoint on who they are in the world. Yeah. And that sort of verbal aggression really can be damaging. And as I said before, we're not catching it because we're busy dealing with the child we saw shove somebody, which does need to be dealt with.
Yeah.
But we also have to be listening very carefully. If this study is right, and there's a whole population of children in our classrooms being quietly, extremely aggressive verbally, we need to be aware of that.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
said this since I read this in this textbook a couple of times when I've been doing conference talks. I've said this. I've said, this is what I read. And teachers who've worked with children for a while sit out there in their seats nodding their heads violently. Like, yes, yes.
So
the children
true.
are verbally aggressive,
Yeah.
particularly some of the girls.
Yeah.
And we need to deal with that, because one teacher actually said to me about that she said, yes, the girls, there are some girls in my class who are verbally aggressive and the other ones are the victims.
Yeah. That's true.
But you don't get out of the scene somehow. You're not, everybody's part of the scene in some way or another. They're an accomplice, or they're the person, or they're the victim.
Right.
Like, everybody's in it, she was telling me.
Oh yeah, everyone's in it. And there's usually, like, at least in my class now, there's a couple leaders of it. And then there's a couple that are like, they'll follow along with them. And then there's the victims. And it's like, you could see it. You see who the leaders are and who, but it's like, sometimes you're like, we got to stop this, but you don't know how, and these poor victims.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That brings us to the question of, what do we do? You and I have pointed out an issue now that some aggression is physical in your face, and we catch that and we teach kids.
Right.
What are we going to do with all of this aggression, not just the physical in your face aggression? What do you think we need to teach the children?
Well, I think we need to teach them to be kind to each other no matter what, but also what those kind words are. And if someone is bothering you, that whispering behind their back that they're not their best friends is not the way to solve the problem that's bothering you.
And by the way, my expectation is not that every child in the classroom will be friends.
No.
I have I have a pet peeve about when I see teachers say to the children something about them all being friends in that classroom, because it's not true. They're not all going to be friends. I don't believe in misusing the word friend, and I don't believe in lying to children. I think when we say to them, we're all friends in here, we don't do that, or don't do that to your friends. They're not all friends, folks. Right. Friendship is not the thing that we need them all to be. The thing that we need them all to be is what Allison said. We need them all to be kind.
Kind. Yeah.
Right? Kindness is the lesson, not friendship. When you catch yourself saying to children something about them being friends or all being friends, I hope you catch yourself doing that. And remember, that isn't what I should be saying. I should be saying we all must be kind.
Right. Because when you say we don't do that to our friends, that child's like, yeah, but he's not my friend, so I guess I could treat him that way. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't like her, so she's not my friend, so I can be mean then.
Yeah. Yeah. But instead you had to be like, we all have to at least get along. Like, we all need to be kind to each other. Whether you like the person or not, you still need to be kind. You can't just say that that kindness is only for friends. You have to say you should be kind to everyone, or at least civil. At least civil. You need to at least be civil towards people.
That would be a lovely world if we could live in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think we need to teach children about kindness, but we have to make sure to, and I wish I had a better word than catch. We have to make sure to notice. How about that? We have to be sure to notice all the different forms of aggression taking place in our classrooms in order to teach kindness to everyone.
Yeah.
How do you talk to children about kindness in your classroom, Allison?
Well, I feel like usually it does happen in the moment a lot. Like, what is kind and what is not? What are kind words and what are not kind words? So like, if they're using not kind words, I just lost my train of thought.
We were doing the how do you.
So like, I feel like, and I tend to point out acts of kindness a lot. I point them out. So like, if I see somebody doing something really kind, I point it out, and I usually give them a star, which is the equivalent of like the Academy Awards in my classroom. But like, and then when they're not being so kind, to be like, well, how can we turn this around to be kind? So like, what words can we use instead? Because I feel like you got to teach them almost like in the moment of things a lot. Like, talking about kindness while you're at meeting time, they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, oh, she's talking about her kindness again. But like, in order to really learn what that is, I feel like they have to be like in it. So if somebody,
Also, when they do
yeah,
something kind, acknowledge it.
acknowledge it. I am constantly acknowledging the acts of kindness that go on in my classroom. And I give them, like, I've talked about this on the podcast before. I have these little paper stars. Okay. And I write on the paper star, like, the acts of kindness that people have done that day. And then they go home at the end of the day and they put them in their folder. So, like, that's like, it gets acknowledged in the moment. Like, oh, look at this. Like, you are doing an act of kindness. And at the end of the day, again. And then they get to take that piece of paper home that says so-and-so, helped a friend or helped a person or whatever. So it could get acknowledged like 3 times, and that hopefully gets ingrained in them that, like, oh, I get acknowledged for really good acts that I'm doing instead of getting acknowledged for aggressive acts.
One of my clients set up, I thought it was so cute that I took a picture of it. She set up something on a bulletin board. She called it the appreciation station.
Ah,
Isn't that nice? And
that
when the
sounds
children,
really nice.
This is preschoolers, same age you teach. And when they do something kind for each other, something gets put up on the appreciation station. I thought it was so great. When I go to schools, I take pictures of things that I see are great like that, and they get posted on my professional Instagram. If anybody wants to see the appreciation station, on Instagram, they can go to at, and then my full name, Cindy Terrebush, CindyTerrebush. If you are not an Instagram person, but you are a Facebook person, these pictures also get shared to my Facebook page. You can go on Facebook and find my page and like it, and you will see the appreciation station.
I like that idea.
Right. I just loved that it was about appreciation.
Yeah.
More than, I don't know. I've seen other ones that didn't kind of strike me when I saw them. It's about appreciation. I think we have to appreciate their kindness and notice when they are not being kind, which can be tough.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are so many adults that are also verbally aggressive that I think we almost sometimes become numb to it.
Well, I also feel like that is very true. What you're saying is that adults are very verbally aggressive towards other people. And I think that kids are seeing that. So, like, if you are a parent who is talking badly about another parent, well, your child is watching that. And then they think verbal aggression is just a normal thing, that this is what people do and it's okay to talk like that. But really, like, if you need and teachers do it too. Teachers talk about other teachers. I mean, you got to stop. You just got to stop. If you are an adult, you shouldn't be talking poorly about anybody in the presence of a child.
Or maybe anywhere, because I think it just puts negativity in the world. And I don't think that you get positive things back when you fill your space with negativity.
That's true. Just be civil and kind to everyone. Somebody posted on Facebook today, like, you don't know what the person next to you is going through at the moment. So how about you just be kind to them?
Yeah,
that's so true. That is so true, because you have no idea what the person next to you went through to even get there that day. So instead of being rude to them, just be kind. And I think that's true. So if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's very true in front of children.
Yeah.
Children hear you gossiping and they see you rolling your eyes at people. They notice all that. Yeah. And so it feeds their propensity to be that sort of aggressive. And we don't want, just like when my kids were little and they would watch wrestling and now they wanted to wrestle all the time, which sometimes turned into fighting. And we ended up saying, no more wrestling on TV for you.
Yeah.
Just like that. Children will be verbally aggressive, and we have to realize that they're copying some of that from us. And so we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We need to wrap it up, Allison. How would you like to wrap it up? I know. Fast. How would you like to wrap it up?
I think we need to tell our listeners that they need to watch out for all the types of aggression in their classroom and to practice kindness always.
Yes, you're our models. They watch everything you do.
Everything you do.
Please come back again next Monday to your podcast app or wherever you're listening to this podcast for another episode, because we're weekly now, as you probably well know by those episodes arriving if you have subscribed. If you have not subscribed, you need to do that so that the episodes just arrive and there they are and you're ready to listen to us.
Yeah, yeah.
And to share and to subscribe and to give us that 5-star rating.
5 stars. Yeah.
And feel free to go to our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com, and write to us. A
Oh,
lot
please
of
do.
the things we talk about on this podcast are ideas that are coming from our amazing listeners, by the way, from all over the world. We are beside ourselves with what we are getting through our contact form, beside ourselves in the best possible way.
In the
We're
best
pleased,
possible way. Yeah.
right? We're pleased that we're reaching all of you, and we hope that our reach continues as we keep being named in the top preschool podcasts. Share and spread the word. And until next time, preschool peeps.
Bye, peeps.